Tuohy? Hey, Richard, how are you? Uh,
Hello, yes, lovely
a
to see you.
pleasure to have you here with us again. Now
Thank you.
in this super distance, like I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 kilometers,
Miles.
probably.
We're in the same hemisphere, that's the main thing.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
same Earth.
Yeah.
Same planet still. And it's very good to have you here at Inflamável at its first edition. And we are very lucky to have you and Dianna making, filming, shooting for us the the the
Teaser for the
teaser for the
festival.
festival, and it's
It was a
very
lot of fun.
beautiful, and it's just the signature for our festival. So you are with us again. So
Lovely.
it's a pleasure and an honor to have you with us.
Thank you.
So we can start. Hisha could talk a little bit about how you shot the teaser and the idea of it.
I'll start with how, and then we'll talk about the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How is it involved multiple exposures in a Super 8 cartridge. In fact, I used different cartridges because I used salvaged film. People often send us rolls of film for developing at our lab that aren't fully finished, and so sometimes there's a bit of film left over that I can cut off and put into a box and use later. So I used some of these rolls of film, partly because that made it possible to try a few different things and see what works well. So the basic procedure was to multiply expose in a Super 8 cartridge, which has to be done by reloading the cartridge. You can't easily go backwards in a Super 8 cartridge because while there's a core on one side, there isn't one on the other side to take it back up again. So you can't rewind the damn thing. So what's involved is reloading, where you take the cartridge apart and
Now you burn
take
the
the film.
film.
Pardon?
Now you burn this film.
This film is empty. Yes, that's right. It would otherwise, yes, it would be problematic. So you take the film off this side and then carefully wind it back, and then that takes a little while, and then put it back on the other side and put the cover back on, and shoot again. So that's the process of reloading. And what we were doing was using a flash gun, like a handheld flash gun, like for photography. And we were, as you saw, we filmed at, I think we shot at 9 frames per second on a Super 8 camera. It had a slow motion, so that the shutter would be open for longer. And so we'd get more, because with the manual flash gun, you can only flash so fast. You can't go. You have to go about that fast. So with 3 exposures, then that built up those flashes to being quite dense, quite a lot of flashes. What else did we do? Then of course there's the flame, which we did. I think by that part of the teaser, we're not flashing anymore. I think we're just multiply exposing, yeah, and using jets. Yeah. Why did we do that? I guess I wanted to try the multiply exposing Super 8 thing again, because that's always a challenge and a bit interesting. And I thought it would be something that is not everyone would do. It would be an unusual thing. But the structure involves going from plants through some expression of people in particular the hand, which is the thing that we do stuff with. It's our tool and also our weapon as humans. And then to flame, which is in broad terms the trajectory of our planet. Terribly enough. Yeah, there's plants, and then there's intervention by us, and then there's fire. I guess without going into too much more detail, that's what it was. That's what I was, going for. And I wanted to do. I thought the flames would multiply very nicely and connect to the kind of blitz of the flashes visually and emotionally, perhaps. Yeah. So that's what it was about.
No quintal.
What else?
Acho que sim. Pergunta?
Não tem mais, não falo.
O que, quintal?
It's
you did in your backyard, probably.
Backyard, yeah.
Mostly, but not all. Mostly in the backyard, because when you're reloading Super 8, it's easier to go to a dark room and do it than in a change back. But we did some of it in Melbourne at a park, and so we were set up there. We spent a few hours from maybe 9 o'clock. No, it was later than that. It was about 10 o'clock till about 1 in the morning, sitting there in the park, rewinding Super 8 in a black bag. So it's possible to do anywhere. But yeah, mostly it was in our backyard, yeah, and in the street, and the fire was done in our backyard too. So there you are. Yeah.
Pergunta para como é que ele está desenvolvendo os trabalhos em oficinas que ele estava
Pergunta.
Eu não sei mais falar inglês.
Claudia told me that she don't speak English anymore. Can you imagine this? And I speak better than her.
I don't believe you. we used this interesting thing for the sound. What else did we use? We used a couple of other tools, but this was near the end.
I know it. Yes.
O que é isso?
É tipo um chocalho que você puxa assim, ele faz barulhinho dentro.
For the sound, you say?
For the sound.
Yeah. It makes thunder.
Okay. And the crickets you're recording with, they are crickets or what? This crick. Oh, nice.
A little frog. Yeah.
That's why it's so rhythmic.
Yes, it was not Mother Nature itself.
Mother Nature can be very rhythmic too, and she was the inspiration.
Yeah.
Yes, she was the inspiration.
Yeah. And you are working now with another filmmakers in Australia. I saw like a group that are shooting and exhibiting together. I don't know, some sessions I saw that you're curating there.
Yeah, that's right. We have a group in Melbourne called Artist Film Workshop, which, as it happens, Dianna and I started that back about 11 years ago. And it's been going a long time, doing its thing. It's an artist-run film lab. So it's a community lab. It's an open thing. Anyone can join, but it's entirely funded by the members. There's no funding here. So we just struggle along. And lately it's been very active. We've had a number of good screenings at our venue. Well, a couple of different venues in Melbourne, but the important one is the Australian Centre for the Moving Image, which is in Melbourne. So AFW, it's called.
And the workshop that you developed, they were there or in your backyard? Some workshops I saw, I don't know when.
Yeah, okay. Well, recently we had a thing which we call Nano Fest, which is where That's right. We get people from our lab in Melbourne to come up to our place and camp in the backyard, and we have fires and we do workshops and drink beer and watch films. We watched a few Stranglerscope films. Have you heard of them? They were really good.
Thank you.
And Richard,
Yes.
could you talk with us about your other film that you have in Festival Crossing, that you made a blowout?
Yes, that's right. So that film was filmed in Japan and Korea, in both countries. These days, one doesn't really think about the tension between these countries, Japan and Korea, because we have bigger problems in the form of Ukraine and Russia. But historically, there's been a lot of tension between these two. And yet, as tourists, you can just go from one to the other and back, and oh, it's all very pretty. So that was on our mind. That's always on our mind when we're in one place or the other. They're so close, and they share a lot of history, but they have a lot of tension. So we wanted to mix them up. We wanted to mix both of these countries up together. The technique involved involved creating a lot of grain, of course. So there's grain everywhere, and if you look at any object, it's like it's got electrons flying around it, and this kind of spreading of the boundaries of things was something that I kind of enjoyed about it, because if you ask me, like it spoke of the way things touch each other, even if they don't want to. Like we emanate stuff. We interact with the things around us. We blur into them. Yeah. So that film was made in Super 8. We shot on a very unusual film stock that was around for a short period of time. After Ektachrome, you know how we have Ektachrome again. Well, a little while ago, we didn't have Ektachrome. And it was possible to get some color reversal film, some color positive film, and it was re-slit from 35mm aviation film, an AGFA film. This film wasn't very good. It was very grainy, but nonetheless, it was a positive film that was available. And we had so customers would send it in. And one time I accidentally processed a customer's film, Avifot film, this film, in the wrong chemistry. I cross-processed it in color negative chemistry. And all of a sudden the grain just went, wow, it just went everywhere. So I thought, well, this has got to be done. I told the customer, and he said, well, I like it, but I wouldn't do it on purpose. But I would do it on purpose. So yes, that was how I found that particular film really exploded with the grain. So I then bought a bunch of rolls of that before it disappeared. But also, of course, the film is optically printed, and this enlarges the grain much more. So if the original picture was this size, we're probably going into about there most of the time. So we're enlarging it further. And we copied that, like during the editing process, I put that original Super 8 negative in the optical printer, and then in the camera of the optical printer, I used 16mm Avifot, again, the same film, but on 16mm, to make a blow up of the negative, which was quite difficult to get the colors, to keep the colors through that process, because it's not, well, let me just say, it's not straightforward to keep colors when you're doing weird processing. But it worked. And that's what I've got to say about the process of making it. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, of course,
Yes, we
enjoy
did.
it. It's a very beautiful and powerful film.
Thank you.
And what about still running a Super 8 lab?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean,
could you talk about this for us?
Yes, because it's very important for Brazilian people that think that Super 8 is something that it's
a dead media.
A dead media, you know. They say, oh, but it's a dead media. And then it's important to have some speeches about how it works now.
Sure. Okay. Yes. Well, look, Super 8 never went away. It stayed through the bad years of the late 90s and the early 2000s. And then around maybe 2005, it really went up again. When we started our business in 2006, we were getting something like 20 rolls a week. These days, we get about 100 rolls a week, which is quite a lot, actually, and has changed how we have to do things. A lot of the uses of it are commercial, people doing wedding photography or making a surfing film, but a lot of that sort of thing, but then half of the use, I think, is more interesting that happens. It's people either learning about cinematography or they're undertaking a project. And that's the stuff I like to support. That's the stuff that's more interesting. I mean, the surfing's okay, but the people doing experimental film or documentaries or little narratives. We've had in the last year, we've had 2 narrative features made on Super 8. Well, they're just finishing now, but that's been quite a lot of processing. So when we started, it's worth knowing, for many years, in fact, for most of the time that we've been running as a lab, we were processing by hand, Super 8 by hand. That made sense because, Australia is a long way off by itself. It's a small market. And so we figured hand processing, well, we didn't figure this. That was the only option we had. That, we didn't have money to build a big lab. So we were just processing in those Russian tanks.
Lomo tank.
And then Lomo tanks. Yeah. And this is a really productive way of processing Super 8. Because you can process 2 or you can process 4 or you can process lots on any one day. The chemistry can always be fresh chemistry, and you can turn film. You can return the customer's film quite quickly using Super 8. Using a Lomo tank, because you don't have to wait until you get 20 films or more to do a batch. You can just do it today. After a while, we found that using just the 2 spirals in a Lomo tank wasn't enough. So we joined 6 or 3 Lomos together to make 6. Yeah. And then we processed in these hamburgers in a big tank. And we would do, say, 30 or so of those, 30 or 5 of these big ones at a time. Then about 2.5 years ago, we made contact with a fellow in Ukraine who was making Super 8 developing machines. We first heard about this fellow in São Paulo. São Paulo, the guys there, Rodrigo.
Rodrigo. Okay.
Yeah, and oh gosh, the other fellow's name has just slipped my mind. I've been in communication with him a lot, and right now it's too early in the morning. So if you're watching, I apologize. I remember you. I've just forgotten your name just now. But these guys are running a Super 8 lab there, and we were sitting at a bar.
2 years ago when you were here?
Yes.
Yes, okay. When they were there.
Well, we were at your place 1 year ago plus COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's about 3 years, but still, yeah. And they told us, and I said, this is impossible. I don't believe you. So I'm really thankful for them for letting me know that they were telling me about this guy. So he was making, up until about 4 weeks ago, processing machines for Super 8. And this is a really important development for Super 8. They're small machines. They're only, it's only about, if I was standing up, about this high, and about, just a bit longer than my screen wide. It's quite small. And compared to
a barrel, they made cachaça, for example.
The way they make cachaça?
Yeah, barrel too.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to think of something.
It's the same size.
Same size, yeah. It's a cachaça barrel size. There must be a word for that. Anyway, so these are great, and they're I mean, it would be super. It's just the right size for Brazil, you know, for the Brazil market. I'd love the guys in São Paulo or anywhere else to get one of Victor's processing machines. This T-shirt is from my friend Victor. I saw him wearing it, you know, when we were having a chat, and he made me one. So salute Victor, because a very important man for Super 8, and currently throwing Molotov cocktails at Russian tanks, which is very, very scary.
Yes, we are all scared about it. That's it. We have this kind of fights, not this kind of fights like a war, but we have small ones in Rio, São Paulo, at the favelas. A lot of with the indigenous people also. They are being killed every day in Brazil. So it's war everywhere.
Yeah.
Capitalism.
It's very terrible.
Yeah.
So talk about
guys,
new projects.
Yeah, talk about your new project. It's a
new
good
projects. Okay, what am I working on at the moment? I'm actually editing a number of films, or finishing a number of films. One is the one that I shot in Brazil, not Brazil, sorry, in Spain, some years ago, when we were doing a residency with Crater Lab. You know the Crater people?
Yeah, we know.
We know them.
They are friends.
Yeah.
Luis Macias and Adriana Villa Guevara.
Exactly.
They came here in 2017, I think.
Oh, super. Yeah, of course. In fact, I must have known that somewhere deep in here. So this film, you know, but their Crater Lab is in Barcelona. And, you know, if you go to Barcelona, you think about the Civil War. That's what I think about. You know, the resistance that happened. There was a lot of resistance, a lot of...
Guernica.
I don't know what... Is that near there?
The painting, I think.
Yes. Yeah, well, yes.
Pablo Picasso.
Yeah, you think of the painting, yes.
It's about the Civil War.
Of course, and the German bombing. Yeah. Anyway, so this film that we shot there was, I wanted to explore an experimental technique. There was, at that time, at the time we were there, a lot of talk about making your own color film. And there'd been a lot of talk about making your own black and white film. But people were saying, you know, what if we could make
handmade emotion? That's it?
Yeah. Handmade emotion.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't know if you've done it, but it's very making a black and white film is, on the one hand, quite easy. On the other hand, the results are very organic. You know, mostly what you see is the effect of how you put the emulsion on the film base. You know, you see the brush marks, you see the bubbles and stuff like that. And it's very, very beautiful, but it's not Kodak, but it's a wonderful thing. And not enough films are made with it, with a handmade emulsion.
Mm-hmm.
So people were talking, you know, could we make a color film? So one of the things I was thinking about while I was there was what we would do without Kodak, what we would do for color. So I played with a color, a game I came up with for making black and white film look like color film. So I made a strip of, I'll put this hand down. I made a strip on an optical printer of red, green. Yeah. This one is
Esse experimento que ele fez aqui também do cross.
Eu acho que não.
I made a strip of film in the optical printer, which was red, green, blue, red, green, blue, all the way. So, you know, I made lots of this material. And then I would take this film with the three colors and sandwich it with normal black and white film, and then wind it up on a spool together and filmed that way. So I filmed a whole lot of film that way in Barcelona, and I developed the black and white film just in normal black and white chemistry in a Lomo tank. Then make a print of that, and then take the print and the color strip and put them together in the projector. And the effect is, if you line them up correctly, and if you don't line them up correctly, that's also good. But if you line them, yeah, exactly, yeah. But line them up correctly, and you have an impression of the color that was there. You know, you see the flicker, but it recreates some color, especially bright things. So that's one project I'm working on, which I'll make a print of today, which is a bit exciting for me. I'm also working on a project with some footage I shot in the United States a long time ago, or back in 2014, I think, called American Roads. We shot, were doing a tour around the US at the time, and it's obviously a strange country.
Yes.
Hello to our American friends. So I was filming a lot of their roads, and I'm thinking about the demise, the end of the American middle class, and thinking about Ronald Reagan. So so that project is going to have. I want Dianna to make some sound, some music with using Ronald Reagan's voice in there, talking about the importance of destroying the welfare state and ending socialism in America. That's what the project is about. And I want to continue this Flash business, because the Flash, I think, is a lot of fun. It's quite interesting. So a bigger project that I'm working on, and I've been doing since the trailer for your festival, has been to shoot to explore this Flash technique more. I'm using a Bolex this time, and we've been going to some places in the bush and taking the flash gun and the big heavy battery and flashing the trees. I'm doing it at dusk, just as the sun sets, so that you get the background light as well, and mixing in, and the camera's moving, so the background light is all blurry and it looks like fire, which is, I think, is going to be a bridge for me when to incorporate the two themes that I used in, or two of the themes in the little trailer of the fire and of the trees. I'm going to have the sky burning like this. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. Diana's currently, well, she's very busy, but she's working on a film called Super 8 Tales. So it's another Super 8 film. I'm sorry it wasn't ready for your festival. When we used to process by hand, there'd be a little tiny bit of film that you fold up to put in the middle of the Lomo tank, and we'd cut that off because it's too bent to give to the customer. So we'd cut that off. And Diana has taken hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these little bits of film this long, that say exposed at one end, but have a few images of the customer's film at the other.
Yes.
Splice them together, and is making a graphical film. Looking at for instance, the direction that the thing is moving in those few frames, and so making patterns and structures out of this, or looking at making thematic connections, like it might be all animals, or all people's faces, or trees, or what have you. Making quite a nice piece. I'm enjoying it, of connections between all these little tiny bits of film. And it speaks very much of you know, the properties of 8mm and of the you know, the material, because there's this, you get images at this end, but then the images get really chewed up, really distorted, because the film base is so crunched up, and you get this lovely physical decay, this physical distortion. Decay is not the right word.
And
yeah,
tiles.
so that's what
Tiles is the title. Tiles.
Tails, yes. Super 8 Tails, yeah, that's right. That's the working title anyway. Yeah.
Super 8 tiles.
I would like to ask you, not ask you, but ask to Dianna to show that camera that's not a camera, it's just a crank. That
Right.
should be, could you show to this big audience that we have here?
Yes, please.
It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Should I? Can I leave and get that? Or get
Yes,
that?
yes, for sure. Yes, we could.
We could. Tchim, tchim.
Segue gravando, olha, depois eu tiro. Isso?
Viu, Ra? Olha.
Will you come out there? Right.
Isso, continua, depois a gente corta.
She's coming.
Okay, nice.
But I've got
You.
What is this?
this is her Super 8 camera.
Ah, okay.
It is 3D printed parts that she's made just on the little 3D printer, which is a fun thing. The most important part is this one, which is a plate. I don't want to damage it because it's her thing. It fits onto the front of the cartridge. See?
Ah, okay.
It clips onto the front of a Super 8 cartridge. And on this plate, there is.
Hi, Dianna. Welcome.
Hello, Dianna.
I don't want.
Missing you.
Could you also
the
get a
same t-shirt that Azucena gave me.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Can you get a crank, Dianna? I don't know if there is. Yeah. Okay. So the she will explain the rest in a minute, but I'll just, this here at the front is a lens thread for, you know, C-mount Bolex lenses. So you can screw a lens on the front, preferably a small lens. Do you want to take over, Dianna?
What else have you got?
And how it works without a shutter?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Inside here, she has put a little tiny pin. There's a little tiny pin here, right, lined up where the sprocket hole of the film should be. And the pin will naturally fit in that sprocket hole.
Oh.
If you put enough pressure, just have a look at the winder. So this is her winding key. I'm ready for you to talk anytime. So I'll just keep it going. Here is the winding key, and it goes in the cartridge. So this drives the film forward. What happens is the film is stuck in this pin, right? But then if you put enough driving force on, it pulls down to the next one and goes into that hole, and then waits there for a moment until you've got enough driving force, and then it goes to the next one. So can you, is that not? As such, the film does move like this because of the pin. And,
The pin
the pin is like the shutter. The pin causes the step movement, just a little bit of movement. But of course, if you're cranking, how fast do you crank? Show us a crank. Do I fit that one because that's a different cartridge.
Oh, it has this one. So.
Okay. So,
Give Dianna some space, Richard, in the screen.
well, I've got it next to me. Yeah, I'll try.
A pale background, like the cartridge. It'd be with real film, wouldn't it? I'll get a real film.
Okay. Yeah. Well, or I'll keep yabbing while she's going to get some more film to show. But sometimes she goes click, click slowly. But sometimes she goes and it works. You get movement, which is amazing. The difference in time between the film being held and the film moving is enough such that the blur. It works like a shutter. There's a bit of blur, but not much. It's pretty extraordinary. I mean, she doesn't think much. You know, she doesn't sort of boast about it, but I reckon it's pretty great as a little camera. She even made a little viewfinder for it. I'll hold it up here. A little viewfinder that keeps on the top of the cartridge, and
it's getting pro and pro and pro.
Yeah.
when he was here, it's like just a crank, I think.
Yes.
And a pinhole, I think, maybe. I didn't remember.
Yes.
Yeah, and a piece of beer can. The pinhole is just some beer tin.
Oh yeah, the hole with the pinhole. Yes, yeah. The lens is a bit luxury, a bit, you know. A bit prosumer. So here we go.
Is it gonna work? I think it's gonna work. You can hear it.
Twist that. Yeah. Click. So you can hear the clicking. Now go fast.
Yeah, goody.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty good.
Maybe 6 frames per second is kind of the maximum.
Could you hear that, Hoffa?
The last one maybe, but we were talking at that moment. Try again.
Do a little bit more, yeah.
No, we can't
Oh,
hear.
No, the
okay.
microphone is
Well,
on this.
yeah. Well, anyway, just hold it up to the camera, hold it higher, and show what you do.
Yes, beautiful.
It's super nice. You already have the patent. How to say this?
Patent.
The rights of this.
Oh, this
invention.
this invention, yes.
Yeah, we're going to make our fortune.
Yeah,
You thought there was a lot of money in making experimental films, but this is going to make us rich.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, it clicks at about 6. At that speed, she was rotating. It was going click, 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 like that. I'm sorry you couldn't hear that.
And how you do to make the photometry for this?
mind,
Everything in your head. Intuition.
Yeah, you mean the exposure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She calculates it.
Yeah, you just how do you calculate it? I mean, like,
Because it's not a regular speed, right? It's
regular enough. She knows what she's doing.
enough. Yeah. Like if there's I think it through like if it was Sunny 16 and it's 50 ASA. If I'm doing 6, that's about 1/4 second or something, and yeah,
so she does it
faster or slower.
Calculation.
And also the lens has f-stops.
Normal aperture.
So you
a 60mm lens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she gets a chance to experiment. So
of course.
the results say too much light, not enough light.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's also nice to just start slow and then go fast and then slow down again, and the exposure goes really bright and then dark. And then,
Yes.
Yeah.
Super nice.
I often use Dianna to tell me how much light there is. If I'm shooting on a 16mm camera, I say, "What's the exposure?" And she just tells me.
Oh yeah.
She says 58. Yeah, that'll be 5.6. Yeah. She knows that. For instance, with 50 ASA film, 50 ISO film in a Bolex, if you need to put your glasses on, it's at least f8. Yeah. So sometimes you go, you don't really need your glasses on. It's probably 5.6 and a half.
Wow.
Nice.
What else could we talk about?
O que mais você quer perguntar, Tete?
Dianna is making a new film also?
Ela tá fazendo aqui.
Tiles. He told us that you're making tiles now.
Yes, I've been making that for about 5 years.
Yes, it's been a long process. But we had a recent burst of making it.
Yes. Yeah.
5 years for 2 minutes.
All over the bench here. It's some edited.
Oh, super.
Yeah, so yeah.
You can see it's all crinkly. It doesn't. Oh, it all curls up and.
You have more tape than film. Most.
Yeah.
There's miles of this stuff.
Yeah. So it has to be edited, and then sometimes I heat it a bit and then wind it up really tight to try and flatten it out so that we can, because we have to blow this up to 16 or something. Although I have, from time to time, actually done a performance version of the edit where it's up to, where I actually put it in a little Super 8 projector that does different speeds. You can do 3 frames per second, whatever. And then do a performance with it. And
nice.
on shots that I like, slow it down so you get to see it a bit more, and then you run fast through things.
Yeah.
Which projector you use? We have an Elmig that made this.
We have an Elmig
that made 3
right.
things and 9, 12, I think.
A 610D. Yeah.
Yeah. We have one. Yeah. 2. We have 2. It's nice.
See the. Can you see the little hole?
Yeah.
The little holes.
Yes.
Only when you Lomo process.
Yeah, it's very good to make performances.
I will bring mine.
Yeah. Rafael, boys. You have one, I have one too.
Yeah, it's the same snap. Yeah. They're good fun. They're a good projector. She didn't mention, you've got a t-shirt. I want the t-shirt. You didn't mention.
You have to come here to pick up.
Should be better.
We always invite hiking. How's what?
You're
always invited to come.
Oh yes.
It's a shame that we don't have a festival with a budget to invite you, really. No, paying for you to come, because it's so now it's more expensive than ever.
Yeah, the dollar is super terrible now here. It's like 5 reais, 5, maybe 6 reais.
Almost 6 reais.
It's $1, American dollar.
So it's prohibitive. Yeah. We cannot go. We cannot go. We cannot pay.
We cannot stay. We cannot go.
We are like.
Still, where you're in Florida is a good spot to be.
Yeah.
It's a good weather.
Okay.
Like Australia.
Tell them about South Point.
South Point. Do I have a copy of what you sent?
Oh yeah, okay, I get that. Yes, just there. Well, she's going to tell you about another film she's working on. We went hiking with our nephew out in. Oh, look at that! Oh, it's not cachaça. It's whatever.
So
Scotch.
easy.
Yeah. We went hiking with our nephew out in a very beautiful place about 3 hours from where we live. And I took a 16mm camera, and Dianna took her little Super 8 camera, and she made a CinemaScope film. It's not finished yet.
The
Wow.
pictures. I can hold it up to the camera.
Nature,
Higher.
Super.
trees.
It
Wow,
is. It is what?
beautiful.
60 millimeters.
No, it's
Super 8.
Super 8. Wow.
it's this camera. It's the little hand camera.
With this camera.
Super.
Go higher.
Beautiful.
Wow, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And it is a film or just pictures?
They're stills.
Stills, yeah.
film, yeah.
stills.
That's from it. Yeah, yeah.
It's not.
Could you send us some photos? Could you send us some photos to put in the screen of this meeting? Just to people can see better how it happens. And nice.
It was, with this, you don't get a clean 4:3 image. Sometimes it's down, and the average is more like CinemaScope. If you want to get rid of the whatever, so that's what she opted for.
It makes a larger image. That's it.
Wider.
And it goes all the way
Smaller.
Smaller.
Yeah, it goes from the
Wider.
yes, that's
Wider.
It's a small image but wider.
yeah, the kind of films that boys like where they expand everything. Yeah.
Super.
The North American films in Far West, things like that, with the
But it's Super 8.
But in Super 8.
With a lot of grain. It's a grainy
Beautiful
western.
images, Dianna. Wow, great to see you. Do you want
Well, so what?
talk, Richard.
No, I have enough. I'm waiting for instructions.
We don't have it enough. Yeah,
it's fine.
it's fine.
It was super great. The
Super
people
great
loved
to
it.
have you. You gave some lessons, so it's
And
perfect.
sharing your
Sharing your
process.
process, yes. your
I have
film.
one more question about the feature films you said that
You're making.
the
now.
people made in your lab now.
Yes.
The final copy is digital or what? Or in Super 8?
Yeah, it will be
Digital.
digital. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's the way people do things these days. It would be lovely to say they're working to a Super 8 original, but no, they're shooting a negative film. So, I mean, we've had in the time we've been running Nano Lab, we've had 5 or 6 of these Super 8 features come through. We used to do one fellow who needed black and white hand processing, and that was very boring because there were so much film, and his film was a bit boring. But these days, people are using color neg for their feature films, so yeah, they'll have a video. We could make a print, but onto 16mm. We can do that. We can go from Super 8 color neg onto 16 print, and we can also do it from video. So we can go from Super 8 color negative transfer to video, and then output onto 16mm negative or 16mm print.
In your lab?
Which is in our lab.
Oh, great!
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I would like to have a copy of No Justice, No Peace in 16.
Yeah.
This is possible, Hoffa.
I will send you an email and you tell me how much.
Yeah, it's a lot, but yes, okay.
It's expensive.
Yes, it's expensive.
Well, a bit because if you're using 16 mil color negative. That's not cheap, but it's possible.
The film stock itself.
Yeah, the film stock itself.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing. I think it's a pleasure to watch. It's a pleasure to watch films projected on film, you know. And if it's on via digital, as long as you shot, or as long as there's something organic in the original, it can look very beautiful, you know. So we're having some people over tonight to our outdoor cinema at the back. And we're going to watch a whole lot of 16 mil prints, some of which have gone from film to digital to film. And it's been good for our group in Melbourne, for AFW, the collective, to have this capacity to go through digital. Because some people, like we've been running AFW for a long time, but it's hard for some of the members to do the lab work, the laboratory work, you know, the printing and stuff. You know, when you're printing film, you have to get the exposure right in the print, and different shots will need different exposures, and it can be quite technical and difficult. Some of the members do that well, but being able to go through digital and back out to film has meant we, as a group, are getting more films made, which I think is the most important thing for the group.
Yeah.
Which film you use to make these copies?
Well, if it's color at the moment, we go on to 50D and then make a normal contact print. But the contact print from a film out, from when you've done this onto the 50D, is so easy because the exposures are all the same, you know, and the colors the same, so it works very quickly. In black and white, we go straight to print stock. So the computer converts the black and white images to a negative, and then you can go straight onto print stock. Our friend who made this system for us is working on being able to go straight to color print stock, which will make it much cheaper because color print stock is the cheapest film. It's about it's less than a third the price of color neg, but there are technical problems with it. We will need to have a filter, a rotating filter, to get the colors right. But nonetheless, he's actually working on that this week. So that's I'm hopeful that we'll be able to go straight to color print film soon.
Super.
Which will make it
a lot cheaper, yeah.
Then when it gets cheaper, we can make it.
We can go there and make it.
Yeah. Well, we'd have to post it to you. Yeah. We'll bring it next time we come. Yeah. Because I can't resist. We have to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Jambu.
And hugs.
Well, yeah. You still owe me one jambu.
Hugs.
What?
You still owe me one jambu.
Yeah.
Yes, I know this.
Next time, maybe we can.
And 2 t-shirts.
We can take you to Bahia. Maybe you can take it to Bahia next time.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
Go up, huh?
Yeah.
Instead of being here, we can go from here to Bahia, or meet in Bahia, then come here. Things like
that's
that.
the north. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. We can meet in Bahia, and then we can come here driving.
Whoa, from Bahia.
From Bahia, and then we are como é que é parando? Stopping and seeing and shooting and.
Sure.
And
yeah, it'd be great.
And drinking.
Yeah.
It could be a good plan. Very different from your film in United States roads.
Yeah, I'm sure. Probably much more interesting. With the t-shirts, mine is an XL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Dianna.
She's an
M. L.
L.
L.A.
It's more comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. I want to go back to bed now.
Okay.
Is that
I want to
okay?
go back to. We
I didn't.
we didn't hear.
To bed.
To bed.
Okay.
So go to bed. Have a nice sleep.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yes. Thank
It's
you.
always a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
And it's lovely to see you both. Yeah.
Sending love.
Coraçãozinho.
Oh, yes, okay. Very well done, yes. All right. So we'll
The
see you guys
the
soon.
Korean, the
The
Korean
Korean,
guys
Korean.
doing like this.
Well, they
Korean,
live very
Not hard.
Yes.
Korean makes
It's-
like
It's more like Super 8. Super 8 hearts is like
Super
this.
8. Nano hearts.
No hearts, yeah.
Nano hearts.
It's like saying
Okay,
it's
guys.
expensive, but I love you. I'll see you guys. We'll send
Okay,
you
guys,
some
love
images.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
to bed.
Thank you.